Nigeria is a big market, and by all statistics available, it sure is. But within the already created transport market, some folks have to give in, and unfortunately, the legacy drivers or the traditional yellow taxis who have been there as blasts from the past, reliably so, are paying the price technology interruptions does to any system.
So if you're operating a taxi business and you don't have a call-up system, not just a call-up system, your phone, you don't have an electronic or what else were used for, an application-based call-up system, you're gone. The one that was developed for the taxi system in Lagos was based on an application system where everybody downloads the app and every driver has the app, and the taxi companies too have the app, and as you call the taxi company or you call the general app either through your phone call or through the internet-based call, immediately a vehicle is attached to you and a vehicle is deployed. But right now, if you want to do that, the standard of the vehicle must improve, and that was the issue we had with them there. They wanted to operate it. Unfortunately, while they were still negotiating, we moved from 3 years. Eventually, we stopped at, I think, 10 years old. That means now you can use a vehicle that is 2007.
Automation here brings efficiency, but causes some jobs to be lost. At the same time, it creates an entire army of compliant folks. For no faults of theirs, they've been forced to play the catch-up.
I've heard the local the yellow taxi in Lagos. They've said we used to have red taxi in Lagos. Red taxi came and died. Uber will come and die. I'm sorry, like the Kodak story, Uber is here for, IT is here to push the transport system. So if they don't want to catch up, in no time, I guarantee you, yellow taxi in Lagos will go extinct.
Well, these guys have to live with the reality that the world is becoming smaller and smaller. So everybody has to keep up. So the traditional taxi guy has to keep up, maybe enroll his cab on something, and everybody has to keep up with technology. Technology is the way to go now. So you can't just stay back and say, oh, no, I don't do that.
The other thing is also protecting the legacy operators. Those who are currently, you have about 20,000 people currently driving the normal taxi. You also need to protect them. And that is why I would recommend that government really sit down and find a way to make these guys also migrate to the level of technology so that they don't become jobless. Because otherwise you can have a crisis of all of them can just become jobless within a day. And example of that is what was evident in the last American election. Those who lost their job, people of my age and above, who lost their job in the auto industry. By the time the economy improved, by 2010, 2012, they could not get their job back because the job now requires some level of technology. And the level of technology they had when they were in the university and on the job was not the same technology that the industry. Now you have cars that moves without anybody driving them, the Tesla model. So we also need to act quickly to also make sure these legacy drivers, the current people, are upgraded to get into that. And they also need to understand that technology has moved away from the way they used to be, and they have to blend.
Therein lies concerns of implications of a free market that may run without corresponding regulations. Experts have raised concerns as regards revenue for government by way of taxes, security implications of a business that has become an all-commerce affairs where security can be an issue.
First, let me tell you, transportation is not just a social or economic activity. It is also a security activity. Go and check all these terrorist attacks and the rest. You will see something like transportation sector involved in it. In fact, it's the key. When they go to the train station, it has a reason. Because of soft targets, mass people. When they go to the airport, aircraft, mass. So transportation is really a security issue when it comes to regulation. So when you regulate it to make sure that it is open for economic activity because it has the potential to bring in the highest number of jobs that satisfies every category of people, especially the lower level entry job. You don't need too much certificates in the transport sector. So if you leave it too open, you are prone to attack.
Very, very safe. Uber has put in a lot of parameters for you to be able to know that, okay, if a rider forgets something, there's a provision on the app that I will just report it and take the property to the office, and the person goes there to go and pick it up, and it's very safe. If anybody misbehaves, you can actually locate that person because they have their data. So it's safer for the driver, it's safer for the rider.
So while the application-based transport system is attracting all the lovers of comfort and ease, creating an ecosystem of a new order, how do we ensure we can continue to protect the weak?
As technology improves, technology is even reducing the amount of abuse on the ecosystem. Because the climate change campaign has gone so strong that technology developers put it as a front burner in coming up with new technologies. So seriously speaking, the modern technologies coming on now takes into consideration, and they tend to develop things that reduces greenhouse gas emissions, or things that will encourage the release of greenhouse gas emissions. And you can see that the greatest abuse comes from home appliances and the home, transportation and agriculture.
Again, technology is great. Its products are priceless to the effect that any aspect of living can experience efficiency, less time, more to achieve. The inevitability of shocks are near impossible, but can be cushioned if trends are consistently monitored and predictably managed for effective deployment of skill sets suitable for such times. Citizens don't always have to bear the brunt of rampaging technological advancements.
What is operating today, 2011, by 2020, is not going to be anymore. So nobody should work against technology. What we need to do is to embrace that technology and quickly adapt and adjust our systems, our laws. If our laws will impede the technology, like I just read, we may need to amend that section of that law to bring it. If the way they operate may become a security issue, we may need to sit down with them and look at it and make, because they have come to stay, regardless of the number of lawsuits. Go and check all the lawsuits. At the time I tried to review from city to city and country to country, they are all talking on licensing, taxes. And that is why the Uber system, once you pick a fare, they deduct the tax up front and then document it or calculate it for you, and make sure that government is part of revenue. So these are things that we all need to see down. The government, the legal minds in the government, the regulators in government, the private sector, and the operators of this new technology, combined with software application writers, so that to make sure that, and security experts, to make sure that it doesn't become a nightmare one day.
Bus transport system has even changed totally. For those companies who are still doing the Agbero type of loading, I feel for them. You know, with time, those things will come to pass. We're in a world where you walk into a place, a quiet environment, you pick up your tickets, you sit down, you have fun, and then in no time you're on your way. In fact, some of these companies already have plans to make sure that while you even travel along the way, you can use data services on their buses. So these are the kind of things these people are bringing in today's world. So anybody who is not trying to play, if you're not catching up, I'm sorry.
There's a cold war, but knowledge is power. If they have an understanding of how it works, everybody will come on the platform, thereby making things easier for you than looking for a passenger standing on the road looking for clients here and there. You don't have to do all that.
So, training while waiting, transitional lessons when it comes, and constant retooling is the difference between today and yesterday, tomorrow and today. Yeah, technology is here with us. It is evidently visible in our cities. How much initiatives is the future holding? Well, indeed, the future is today. Thank you for joining us. Bye for now.